Hello. Hello, everyone. Anyway, I decided to come on here live really quick. Because then I got to charge my phone. But I had to set up my brooder really quickly because I got in. Oh, you're by the door. And rescue duckling. Hi. Anyway, really quickly before my phone does die. He can walk. Or she. I think it's a male. But I called him Willy Wonka. Wonky for short. But his feet, mostly in this part right here, which is what Cuddles had when she was a baby. It wasn't as bad. Nibbles had it too. She was a lot less worse. Basically, she has what is called a niacin deficiency, which is a vitamin B3 deficiency. The lady who had them got the ducks, and basically, I don't know if she started them out on baby food, but then she switched to a flock raiser. And don't mind the mess down here. That's just dirty bedding. But you can't do that. You can mix a flock raiser with baby food once they reach a certain age, but it's got to mainly stay baby food for so many months of their age. After 8 weeks, you can start mixing like flock raiser, but you mix in a little bit. Like my food right now, even with the baby food when I started out, it's got a little bit of flock raiser in it, but it's got other stuff in it because I had it for when, yeah, they were babies, but when I had the mom sitting on a nest. So that way the moms also had something to eat besides putting in baby food and mom food. I put a little bit of flock raiser in there, which is okay because they mostly had baby food. They have cornmeal in there, which is basically cornbread mix. They have oatmeal, which is the easy oatmeal. It's the quick oats. And they have some echinacea in there. But I also put vitamin B3, which is niacin, crushed up not only in the food, but I also put it in the water along with their probiotics and their probiotics, prebiotics, their hydration stuff, their electrolytes. I also put a little bit of vitamin B3 in there, along with a little bit of echinacea, keeps everything done, and the apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar that you get for them. Not the stuff that you use for cooking, actually. So, that, but if you watch him walk here in a minute, his legs are really swelled up right here. But his feet ain't supposed to curl in like that. He's standing pretty good right now. I put some horse ligament. It's called spearmint. It's horse ligament you get for sore joints and stuff. I give it to Cuddles for her arthritis. But I've seen this before. It's a vitamin deficiency that ducks can get. Now, if you watch, he walks very funny. See how his feet are turned in? Very badly. And ducks' feet will turn in. Ducks will have feet that turn in, and they're a little bit wobbly on their feet, but his feet are very badly turned in. They're not supposed to be like that. So we're going to see if the niacin will help, and a little bit of swim therapy. He looks to be Pekin, but he's got some black feathering coming out, so he might be a mix. Pekins can have black or brown feathers. Not like a lot, like maybe 1 or 2, but I think it's a mix. But see how his feet, and see the joints right up here? See these joints right up here? They're not supposed to be that big. Those are more or less his ankles, what would be our ankles. But since I put the stuff on, the horse ligament, on, he's been wanting to get up, walk around a lot more, because it doesn't hurt as much. And I gave him just a drop of CBD oil, help with inflammation and the pain. I don't want to give him too much of, a pain medicine, because ducks are not like chickens. They don't take medication as well. So he's got stuff in his water. That's what you see floating in his water, is like the echinacea, the niacin. I mix it up in the water, but it doesn't always mix up. And he's got it in his food, and I gave him a little bit of worms, because he's old enough he can have a little bit of worms. I just put it on one side. But he is wobbly on his feet. It's this side mostly that's this side right here, it's the worst. I can touch the other side. He doesn't have a problem with me touching the other side. He don't really like me touching this side. And we decided to call him Willy Wonka. Wonky for short. It's probably going to be wonky because it works for a boy or a girl. Maybe Willy if it's just a boy. It's kind of funny. Oh. But yeah, it's okay. So he don't really like me touching this side. His hips on both sides feel fine. And coming down right here to his knees and everything, his knee is up here. His knee and everything feels great. It feels like it's in a line. It doesn't feel out of alignment. Both his hips and his knees feel like they're aligned. Like they're not out of alignment, nothing. The only thing with a vitamin deficiency in ducks is it can lead, if you leave it too long and you don't treat them and don't give them enough, can lead to like a splay leg problem. The older they get, the harder it is. It can be cured. It can be easily cured. It can be easily worked with. But the lady didn't want him. She didn't have the time for him. It was too much of a problem. He did come with another duckling. It's over at the neighbors because it's not that much of a deal. There's a slight little swelling but it's running around. It's, you can hardly tell, compared to her other ducklings that she has. You can hardly tell there's a problem. He does lay down a little bit more. She's going to do the same thing I do, is put the niacin in, and treat everybody, because it's not going to hurt, because she's got ducklings and she's got a couple chicks in. It's not going to hurt putting in vitamin B3 in with her chicks, as well as an niacin. Oh, those worms are good, ain't they? It's not going to hurt her chicks, whether they're ducklings or they're chicks. It's not going to hurt them. Even a little bit of echinacea to help boost the immune system. It's not going to hurt anybody. But just in case the other one, now the other one's a little bit smaller. The other one is a different breed. It looks like it's a khaki Campbell or a mix. This one is a lot larger. This one looks like it may be not just a regular Pekin, but a jumbo Pekin, which they tend to get bigger, quicker, which can suffer from deficiencies and joint problems. So he may always have some like bowed legs, but as long as he can get around when he gets a little bit older, he should be fine. Not a problem. We just got to get this fixed, because if we don't, and we don't give him the proper vitamins and stuff that he needs now, he's just going to be a duck that lays there. He's not going to be able to use his legs. He's going to have a splayed leg. He's going to have problems. He would have to be put down, because he would just lay there. I had a duck at one time. She was about 4 or 5 months old, and she was one of the ducks that I hatched out and raised. And she developed a late onset of a deficiency problem. And we upped the vitamins and stuff as much as we could, what we were supposed to. We even went and got, stuff from the vet, and she had such a problem, and it was such a late onset, that we had to wrap her legs twice a day and basically hang her like you see horses in like a swing, but in like a cage at night. Well, not at night. I hung her for so many hours during the day and so many hours at night, and then we would leave her loose to do some swim therapy, and I let her out for so long throughout the day so she could try to move her legs. And then we had to rub them, put the horse ligament on them, and that way she could eat and drink, because while she was in that sling, she wouldn't really eat and drink, so we had to sort of let her out to lay there to eat and drink. And of course, we did swim therapy. Her legs were getting a little bit better, but and she could crawl around and do stuff on them, but it wasn't the greatest. We would have had to wait till she got to be a year old for us to take her to the vet, for them to break them, for them to pin them, and she still would have had problems, but she would have been able to walk better. But we would have had to wait till she was an adult, them to be fully developed and everything, and then they would have had them been broken and pinned and redone. But she had some other underlying problems that developed, and she passed away earlier than what we were anticipating. But these things are things that can happen. Um, we're hoping this one doesn't have any underlying problems. Shouldn't. We're going to go with the niacin, see how the niacin does, see how it helps. For a couple days to a week before we even start trying to wrap, because wrapping a duck and doing stuff with its legs and its feet, it does make it hard. It's very stressful on them. Because you got to take popsicle sticks, you got to kind of straighten them, and it makes them tough for them to want to walk, and they don't want to really eat and drink properly, even though you're trying to help them. It does stress them out a little bit. Whether I put somebody in here for company to show them that they can eat and drink, so they don't feel so alone, it does get stressful on them. So we're going to see how the niacin does and how he does on his own. Like I said, this duck doesn't look too bad. This looks pretty good. But like I said, my other duck started out, she started doing this. Didn't look too bad. Was doing great for a while, and then all of a sudden took a turn for the worse. So we'll keep an eye on it, see how it goes. If it gets any worse, then we make a vet appointment. But for right now, we got to do what we know how to do. Like I said, if it gets worse, then we do a vet appointment. But for right now, we just got to do what we know how to do first. Which is get the vitamins and stuff in it. Now, he's got the stuff. I crushed it up. I sprinkled it into his food. He's got it in both sides. He's got it in the water. Yeah, you do. He's eating, he's drinking, so there's no lack of the vitamins. We just gotta give it a couple days to get into a system to see how it does. Then we go from there. Then we do the muscle rubs every day. We do a swim therapy. Yeah, we got swim therapy. Yeah, sound good? We do swim therapy, and then if we got to wrap, we wrap. If it gets any worse, then we go to the vet and we see what goes from there. But we think we caught it in time. And like I said, I've had ducks before that I thought I caught stuff in time. I thought I was giving them enough. But if there is any underlying problems that aren't being detected, like my one duck, that can cause things to be even more of a problem. And that's what I thought it was. And that's what I think happened with the one duck that I did have. Is why she wound up so bad, is there was more underlying problems that we and the vet did not detect because we weren't testing for them. We were just concentrating on the feet. We didn't think there was anything else. But if I do got to take this guy in, we're going to check everything over. And I'm going to be trying to keep I'm going to try to pay really close attention to this little one. Make sure I don't see any other signs. But then again, animals are weird. They cannot show you that there's any other signs or anything else going on. See how he's walking? At least he's getting up and walking around a lot more. Before, the neighbor lady had him for about a day because she didn't really know what to do. She's never dealt with this kind of problem before. That's why she brought him over with me, because I have. I've dealt with it several times, many a times. I know exactly what to do. It's not that hard. It is a little time consuming, that's all it is. And she has kids. I don't have kids. I do have kids as far as, the animals. But, they're a little bit different. Her kids are, they're more active. They're a lot younger. I have, I just have pet kids, and most of them are outside, and, the pen, cooped up, they're fur babies, or feather babies, they're a lot more easier to manage. So, and she's got a lot more going on, so for me to take care of her, I could have told her how to do it and take care of it, which was fine. But she's got a lot of other stuff going on her plate and a lot of other things that she's got to deal with and take care of on her farm. It was easier for me to just do this. Because right now, like I said, I don't got kids. I don't got to worry about school, taking them to and from school or after school activities, anything. So, we're going to see how he does and everything. Give the niacin some time to work, and go from there. But I don't want to wrap right away or, popsicle stick, do anything, because the feet do not look that bad. When I first got Cuddles' one leg turned in that bad, and I just gave her niacin, and after about a week, it started to straighten out, especially with some swim therapy, and I never had to wrap her legs. And then the only problem he may have is when he gets older, like Cuddles, is having some arthritic issues, but other than that, he should turn out fine. He might have a little bit of a bowed leg problem, slightly, maybe always, but as long as he can walk and get around and eat, he'll be fine. That's all we're worried about. As long as he can stand, walk, get around, eat. We don't want a duck to continuously lay down, not be able to eat, not be able to walk, and be in severe pain. That's what we don't want. But, even if he stands like that for the rest of his life and walks and gets around, because I've had some ducks that walk like that and stand like that I've gotten that are older, that are rescues. And they get around just fine. They just have a lot of arthritic issues when they get older. But they've been able to eat, drink, not a problem. As long as he can do that and get around, eat and drink, clean himself. And when they get older, if they have arthritic issues like Cuddles, then yeah, I'll take care of them, put stuff on their legs, give them, their herbal medication that they need. But I just don't want a duck that's just going to lay there and not be able to do anything and be in pain. That's when you have to make the decision, is it worth keeping him alive and suffering? Because there's nothing that can be done. So we'll just get this little duck going. But first we got to get the vitamins in him and see how the vitamins do, see how far it goes before we start wrapping and, So I'll give him a day or two. I'll give him about 3 or 4 days on the vitamins. That will really show an improvement. Along with the swimming. I might wait for a day or two for the swimming. And the horse ligament, I've washed my hand 3 times. And the horse ligament, I can still feel it on my hands working. I still feel it's very hard to wash off. But if it gets in the water, like if he had a water dish in here and he played in it, like I've asked the vet, is it going to hurt my ducks? Because I used to put it on Cuddles, on her legs. If she gets in the water and it washes off, is it going to hurt the ducks if they get it in their water? She said no. That's why it's made for animals. If they lick it, they get it on them. It's not going to hurt them. An excessive amount might make them a little sick, but if she gets in the water, that's why I put it on her once a day, because I've washed my hands, like I said, 3 times. I tried scrubbing my hands. I can still feel it on there. It lasts a long time. So it's kind of like a little bit waterproof. It's never hurt Cuddles. It's never hurt any of my ducklings in all the years that I've had it, so it's got a spearmint minty smell to it. I think that's what it's made with. And spearmint or mint is used for painkillers, so it's very natural. Yeah, you're having fun now, ain't you? Because you got that stuff on your feet. Yeah, and you can get around. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. You happy now? And he's very friendly. Yes. Yeah. So we'll get you going. You got any more problems with you that we should know about? Huh? Anything else wrong with you? No? Yes. I try to take care of him the best I can. We did have another little duckling that was in here. He only lasted a day, because he had a very bad upper respiratory infection. And we tried to get medicine and stuff into him, but he was just too sick. And his eyes were really dilated, and He came in to Tractor Supply and they thought he was blind, and he wasn't. And by the time he got here, the one eye was matted up, and I put stuff in his eyes, and we got some stuff into him. And even though he didn't sound like he was congested up, some of the ducks or chicks that I've had, and even my fowl that get upper respiratory infections, they don't always break out or sound like they're congested up for a few days. But by the next morning when I came out, I checked at him at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I noticed some green stuff around his bill. And I was like, well, that's not good. That's a sign of infection. So thankfully it was a weekend. I got a hold of my one vet, and usually check their messages, and she told me I had a feeling of what to do and what I could give him, but I just wanted to double check. But by the time I got out to do this stuff, because I just herbally treated him, before I could actually get some antibiotics into him, he'd already passed away. So I just herbally treated him. But like she said, whether I herbally treat him, he's going to back up. He keeps backing up to the corner to go potty. He already pooped. Look, he backed up and pooped on the wall. But before I could actually get some antibiotics into the one little duckling, like antibiotics, because I wanted to double check with the antibiotics I had, because I have two of them. I have penicillin, which is universal, and I have another one that I use for my old dog Hans, which is a lot stronger, that I know I can use on my adult, like bunnies and chickens and stuff, but I didn't know if I could use it for the ducklings or chicks, and I hadn't went to double check, which I found out I could. Before I could get any of that in them, or in the little chick, he had passed away. But by 10 o'clock that morning, because I checked him at 3 o'clock in the morning, he had a little bit of greenish around his bill. At about 10 o'clock that morning, then he really broke out, and I could see all this like green mucus and stuff coming out of his nose, and he was like really congested up. So he had really broken out with the cold then. But at least he had some place to peacefully pass away, because a Tractor Supply, even if they're sick and they try treating them, after hours there's nobody to check on them. So, and we don't know where this duckling came from, whether it was a Tractor Supply or whether somebody hatched him out and they just didn't want the ducks anymore because they found this issue. And I'm betting that it's not a Tractor Supply, because the other duck that he came with does not look like a full khaki Campbell. This does not look like a full Pekin. It's got black feathers on the tail. I have had some of my full Pekins that I've bred that are full Pekins have a few black or brown feathers when their ducklings come in, and then when they grow up, I know they're full Pekins, because when I hatched out ducklings, I only had Pekins, so I knew there was no other mix. They all turned out white. I knew they were Pekins. But the bill and the cheeks look Pekin, but that head going to its top, the eyebrows and stuff, is not suggesting Pekin. But if you mix, whether it's a regular Pekin or a jumbo Pekin, with other breeds, you can get them to come out. They can come out still looking all white like a Pekin, with other features, or they can look completely all Pekin. Because I've done that. I've bred my Pekins with my Cayugas, and I've collected all the eggs, and I've gotten nothing but, I've gotten so many black ducks. I've got black and white spotted ducks, and I've got just ducks that look like these guys, and they grow up. And the ones that are Cayuga, which Cayuga is the black duck, and then I get ones that look like the parents that are all Pekin, looks like the parents. And then I get ones that look like they're all Cayuga. Like Wonder, he was the only duck that was born last September, and he's Ruin, which looks like a mallard, but they're bigger, Ruin and Cayuga. Now, he looks like a full Cayuga, but if you get up close to him and look really, really good, he has the Ruin or mallard-like feathering but it is so muddy and so dark that you have to get up really close to see the pattern. He has like a brownish, like it's really dark and it's so muddy, you have to get up really close to see that there is a little bit of a pattern there. But I don't think this guy's a full Pekin. But he's growing like a Pekin, and when you mix ducks, if you mix Pekins with any breed, they have the problem of growing very fast and having the deficiencies that Pekins have, and you got to make sure they get the vitamins. Are you hot? I know. I got his, there's a cobweb there, but I got the light setting up higher because he's older. He don't need the light directly on him. So I might move that light and set it up just a little bit more because they are old enough, they don't need a light directly on him. And if I stick my hand in here, oh yeah, it is pretty hot in here. And it's pretty warm outside. Let me cut this here. There we go. Adjust that light a little bit. So light's adjusted. I might be able there. Set that back, so there we go. Now the light's down on you, but it's not completely on you. Yeah. There you go. Now you're not so hot, are you? He does seem relatively good. I'm just gonna, I gotta give the niacin some time to work. I gotta give it 3 or 4 days. You'll be able to notice a little bit of a difference. A good week, I'll notice a really big difference. I just don't want to wrap him up yet. I just don't want to wrap his feet up yet. Or his legs. Because you got to wrap it and put like a popsicle stick there to sort of keep the legs straight. If they don't need to be. And they don't look, in all the years and all the pictures and the videos I've seen and the years working with them, they don't need to be wrapped quite yet. Some people would. Some people just take them, hurry up, wrap them as a safety feature. But I've taken ducks and hurried up and wrapped them and done stuff, including chicks, who I've seen a deficiency in, or splayed legs, and some of them, they just lay there like, oh, I don't want to eat. And a lot of people are saying, oh, you're wrapping it too tight. It's so loose that, you know, I have to keep wrapping it and tightening it little by little because it's too loose. Because you don't want to make it too tight, but you want to make it tight enough where it stays and it helps. But you don't want to make it too tight. Where I have to keep wrapping it, keep doing it, I have to put them over and like hold them, or try to syringe feed them, to even get them to eat, because they don't want to eat because their feet are wrapped. And sometimes when it comes to a bird and you put anything on their feet to restrain them, anything on their legs, they think something has got a hold of them, so they panic and they don't want to eat. They don't want to drink because they initially think, oh my God, I'm in danger. Something's got a hold of me. They've got to be shown that it's okay to eat and drink. And even if you're showing them it's okay to eat and drink, their mindset is still, something's got a hold of me. I'm in danger. And they literally starve themselves to death because they don't want to get up and walk around. Now, some ducks and chicks, after you wrap their feet and show them that it's okay to eat and drink, they will. But other ones are literally so dumb, they'd rather starve themselves to death. So it's one of those things where it's hard to wrap them and get them used to that wrap. Some people are like, well, if you do it from the time you get them to the time they're young, it's a 50-50 with them. I've done like the things where you hang them, like you do a horse. with ones that are really bad, their feet, from splayed legs to deficiencies. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. I've done it from adults to babies, where I literally have to either hand feed them or get one of those, like, dog or cat trays where you set their food up, so they can eat and drink properly. It can be tough. It's just a long process. Yeah. But at least he's up, he's drinking, he's eating. Yeah. He's using his feet to stand. That's what I want to see. I want to see him up, using the feet, standing, stretching and working the muscles out. Because even though it's a deficiency, it's like everything's swelled up. His ankles and stuff like that are swelled up. I want him to move around. I want him to get around. I want him to stretch everything out. I want him to use his feet and his legs the best way he can, but I want him to move them and stretch them out, because they'll lose muscle mass if he don't. So I want him to keep using them and build up muscle, build up strength. And then what I got to do is I got to take and I got to rub. I got to stretch the ligaments, stretch the muscles, help kind of stretch this one to it, and keep rotating it like this way so it rotates out instead of in all the time. What I could do is I could wrap that one leg and popsicle stick it so it turns this way instead of always turning the other way. But I got to give the niacin some time to work, to help build it up, because it could right itself, like I've seen it do. Or he could right it himself. Yeah. And if they don't get enough nutrition, if you're not feeding them the right nutrition, or if you're keeping them in some place that's small and they're not able to get around, if they're being fed the wrong kind of food, it can make them grow really fast, and it puts too much weight and stuff on their joints. Like, he's really heavy, and it can put too much weight and stuff on their joints and stuff and cause a deficiency and cause too much weight gain and stuff, and make it to where it's hard for them to walk. Kind of like when you get broiler chickens. You're supposed to feed them, but they're designed to get big, grow weight, to where they can be butchered at 6 months old so you can eat them. That's kind of what Pekin ducks are designed to do. So at like 6 months to a year old, whether they're Pekins or jumbos, you can eat them at that time. But if you want... Hi, sorry, my phone died. So I had to go get my charger and plug in. So I figured I'd stay on here for just a little bit more longer. Hi. Now, where was I? Talking about proper feed for these guys. Anyway, the flock raiser that I give to my turkeys. I mix it in with the chicken feed, but then in the evening, I mix in some extra flock raiser. There's different types of flock raiser, but the flock raiser that I get is for turkeys, ducks, chickens, guinea fowl, pheasants. It's for like all different types of birds. And it's the kind that's supposed to help with maintaining their weight. Like in the summertime, it helps them maintain their weight. In the wintertime, it helps them, gain the weight, but, not, keep their weight maintained for winter as well as for summer. It helps with their feathers. It helps with all different kinds of other things. So it's basically, if you want to keep your turkeys, your ducks, your chickens, as pets, you're not going to, eat them. It's for pets only, which has got, it's supposed to have the right kind of protein in it and all the vitamin and stuff that they need. Now, what I do is I might add a little bit extra cracked corn or scratch grains in it, or sometimes bird seed for a little treat. I always put a little bit of either all stock or sweet feed in it, which is usually 12%. In the wintertime, they get a little bit more because I want to have a little bit more of the protein. And in the spring, when they are basically breeding, and it's a spring fling when they breed, and they molt the most because they need a little bit extra protein. Other than that, they don't. Then I lower, and I don't put as much all stock in there because they don't need as much protein. And basically all the corn or scratch grains is just an added nummy, and is just added as a filler to help keep them filled up. And I don't usually like using the corn as much as I do the scratch grains or oats, because oats are more nutritious for them. But not all my birds like the oats. They would rather have the scratch grains or corn. And all as the oats is, again, is oats is a more healthy filler. If you can get oats, it's better, because then if you let them out and they poop all over, you get grass that grows. It's oat grass, but it's grass. And then, of course, flaxseed. We get big, huge 50-pound bag of flaxseed, and we mix that in, because if it's muddy, granted, they can, it helps with their digestion. It's the same thing as if they would eat gravel, and it grounds up in their crawl, but it helps with their digestion. And again, flaxseed is, a filler, but it's a very healthy filler. And flaxseed is very good for them. And they love the flaxseed. I mean, flaxseed is also a treat for them too. Yeah. I don't know if it was a car or it was an airplane. But anyway, and there's a little bit of flaxseed that I also do put in my chicks' food. Even if they're just starting out, it's not going to hurt them. And there's a little bit in there. I mean, not a lot. I mean, if you look at my chicks' food, I have mixed up. It's mostly chicks' food. It's got a little bit of, you can see the oatmeal in there, and not that much. You can even see the cornmeal in there. I mean, you're not going to be able to, but of course you ate some worms. You're eating more on the worms side than you are in anything, huh? Like I said, he's got this big water thing. I only had it filled up so far. I mean, I had it filled up, but then once you put it in, but I want to see how much he's actually drinking, so I can monitor how much he's actually drinking. Ducks drink a lot to a certain point, but it depends on how much of the heat lamp I have on him, how hot he is, and he was hot there for a while. But I want to monitor to see how much he's drinking. That's why I got the electrolytes in there, so it helps him not drink as much. But I also want to see how much he's drinking, how dehydrated he may or may not be. And they do have a habit of playing in water. So I may or may not throughout the day have to take his, which I know it sounds mean, but for a couple hours throughout the day, I may have to take the water away. So this bedding stays clean. So it doesn't get as wet. And he don't stay as wet, because when ducks make it muddy and make it messy in here when they're babies, it makes it harder for them to stay clean, because they don't always stay clean. When they're older and they're out in a pen, they can keep themselves more clean because they can get away from it. Where in a pen, it makes it harder to keep it clean. When they're outside, like when it's muddy, they have the option to go into the nesting boxes, which is cleaner. They can, get in the pool, dry themselves off, and then go in a nesting box. And their feet may be muddy, but at least it's dry inside the nesting box. They can go someplace dry. Where in here, they're in someplace enclosed, they're going to get muddy. They're going to get messy in here. And it's going to get wet all throughout here. They'd have that little corner back there where you see he's been pooping. And he'll sleep over here, but he's been pooping back here and over here. It's going to make it too messy. So what I might have to do is, for a couple hours throughout the day, I take the water out. Or what I'll do is I only put so much water in here with this food, and then I remove it. Now, they usually won't eat unless they have water. And sometimes I remove the food and water for a couple hours, then I put it back in to keep this dry and nice. But 9 times out of 10, I just remove the water. And I know it's going to sound mean. He's not going to starve. He's not going to, dehydrate. But I remove it for a couple hours. I put it back in, let him eat and drink. And once he's basically gone to sleepy sleep, for about 2 or 3 hours, let him go to sleep, then I put it back in here. I've waited till he's ate and drank, then I remove it again. Now, at your feed stores and stuff, they do not do this, and this is why they're continuously cleaning the bedding. When I have ducks, it's kind of hard to do this. Or when I had ducks, when I fed them, I only put so much water in there. And then once they were done with the water, once I seen them done eating, I would remove their water for like 4 or 5 hours. The older they got, the longer their water would come out because they wouldn't eat. They eat about 3 times a day when they were younger, 3 to 5 times, depending on how old they were. And put the water back in. I never had a duck ever get dehydrated or have any problems. But it kept my bedding a lot cleaner. Now, I could get the water things that look like this to fill up, and they have those little nozzle things that they touch. But some of my friends said they've had their baby ducks figure those nozzle things out, and they come back out the next day, and their whole bedding's wet. Are you watching my finger? You want to play now? Are you watching my finger? Yeah. You're just the cutest little thing. Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna be trouble. Should have named you Trouble, because that's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be trouble. You got stuff in your nose. There you go. And if you get really up close to his eyes, like really close, he's got the blue eyes. They're really light, but they're blue. Like the Pekins. See how blue they are? Yeah. So he's definitely got Pekin in him. But if you look back here, and Pekins can, see these dark feathers? He's got some dark feathers back here. See that dark feather? That's black. Now, I have had some, like I said, full Pekins have like black or brown like feathers here and there come out when they're babies. When they become full adults and fully get their like full feathers in, they don't have any, you know, dark featherings at all. I've only had 1 or 2 full Pekins that have like maybe one black or brown like little mark or feather or whatever, and it's just like an oddness to them. And I've read up on them. Pekins can have 1 or 2 misshaped colored feathers, either black or brown. Some of them do have, I think, a gray or a blue. It's just an odd shaped feather. Or it could be because something somewhere down a long time ago in that line was mixed in them and it's something coming out. But his bill, the shape of his cheeks down here, and everything, the shape of it looks Pekin. But this crest right up here and the eyebrows, the indent, if you studied ducks and you know as many breeds as I have, something about it is not saying Pekin. The chest right here sort of may be Pekin, but it's a little bit smaller. This chest right here, usually on a Pekin, it's a little bit bigger. The body's Pekin. Body's definitely Pekin. These wings, however, as big as he is, these wings should have been a little bit bigger. Should have. Doesn't mean they always will. I mean, he could be a little bit oddball and just certain parts of him haven't grown out yet. But usually my Pekins at this age, I'd say he's going on 2 months. Should have been a lot bigger. Not a full Pekin. But we don't care, do we? No, I don't care. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're half eagle. No. I don't care what you are. No, I don't care what you are. Yeah, you could be half eagle. You could be stork. You could be hootie owl. I don't care. No, I don't care. No, we don't care. Come here. Come here, Willy Wonka. Come here, you little wonky thing, you. Come on. Come here, Wonky. Come here. Come here. Aye. He could be a goose as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, maybe that's why you look a little bit different, because you're not a duck, you're a goose. Are you a goose? Are you a duck or a goose? You look like a duck. Maybe you're part goose. Maybe you're a rare hybrid. Are you a goose? Are you part goose? Are you part goose? You're just happy that I got stuff put on you and I got medicine in you and you feel better, huh? So, yeah. Nate, you're biting too hard. You gotta bite easy. That's too hard. You're biting like Romy. You gotta bite easy. We gotta teach you. Bite easy. You might be biting a little bit hard because you might be in a little bit of pain still, especially with this foot, this one right here. And you're a little goober. Yeah, you are. You're a goober. You're a goober. You're playing with me earlier. Yeah, you were playing with me earlier. I was waiting for my phone to heat up. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get your bill. I'm gonna get your bill. I'm gonna get your bill. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna bite you. But no, he's like I said, he's getting up, he's walking around, he's doing pretty good. The more I'm playing with him, and I haven't sexed him. I could sex him. I'm gonna wait for a couple days. I'm gonna put him through that much stress and sex him, because he's old enough. I should probably be able to tell the sex. I can vent sex him. He has that high-pitched voice as a duckling, and he makes a lot of noise right now, but he's going to. It's a new place. He's a little bit scared. Usually males make more noise than females, are more talkative. It's usually that way from the time they're babies. But he's in a new place right now. He's trying to adjust. But as big as he is, when he stands up, I'm thinking maybe female. As light as the bill is, it's not that dark. And as light as the feet are, because usually by this age, they start turning a little bit. Like I said, it could be late bloomer. I was thinking male, but I'm thinking maybe female. Oh, you did it again. And a lot of my females back up and do that. Oh. And it smells. Oh, it reeks so bad. The healthier a duck is and a chicken, the worse the poop smells. So, yeah, we're good there. You are nasty. Oh. Dude, even Kylo's complaining. So we're good there. You got good poop. I'm gonna have to clean that off. That's some nasty poop. It's a poo poo. Look, you even got a spider hanging in here. It's like you got a whole Charlotte's Web thing going on here. Now, if I come back out and you got some duck spun in here, then I definitely know there's something special about you. You're still hot. I'm not turning the light off. Let me get the stuff out of your mouth. Stuff out of your mouth. Yeah. You're such a good ducky. Yeah, good ducky. Kind of was overprotecting him. I had him in the house earlier. I had to put him down on the floor in the kitchen. Put him on the rug. So I wanted to assess, because the lighting in here is okay. And I could have seen and assessed him pretty good. But I also wanted to make sure that, you know, in good lighting I could see what I was seeing. And the light out here is fine. But there's all kinds of noises. Whoever was mowing or doing something had a really, 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 you know, loud tractor earlier. And it's like, I could hear it from inside. But if you stepped outside, even if I would have shut my garage, you could really hear it. And I didn't want nothing scaring him. I didn't want him running. I just wanted him to naturally walk. I didn't want him running and freaking out too much, so. And he's a couple little scrapes and boo-boos on underneath his foot and his leg from more or less dragging and just using it sort of wrong, because he wasn't He wasn't walking right. But now that I got the niacin and stuff on him, I got better bedding, I think. It's a little bit softer bedding. Might not be too bad. Yeah. So, like I said, we'll give the niacin a couple days, kick in, see how it goes from there, see how well it does with strengthening of his legs and everything, see how swimming and stuff goes, to strengthen those muscles and everything before I have to really worry about start wrapping. I don't want to have to wrap it, popsicle stick it, because that can really stress them out. Because then, like I said, they'll think, oh my God, something's got a hold of me, and then they don't want to eat and drink, and then you gotta go through the whole process of showing them it's okay. And then after that, you gotta unwrap them to get them to eat and drink, and then rewrap them back up sometimes. Especially when they're older. What are you doing? Can I leave you alone now? Wanna go sleepies? So far, he or she has not made too much of a mess with the water. I mean, the water's icky now because he's got stuff in it. He's eaten a little bit, but he's not tried getting in the water, not tried making a big mess out of it. He's been a very clean duck, very proper. Yeah, you're not making too much of a mess, are you? He's probably like, no, I don't want to make too much of a mess. I like it nice and clean. Wait till you get older and get out in the bigger pen with the other ducks. They're not so clean. You learn how to be messy. But don't be messy right now. Stay nice, clean, and proper. That's good. Be a nice, clean, proper duck. If you can please stay nice and clean and proper, that would help me out a lot. Just stay nice, clean, and proper. Okay? Maybe you are a girl duck, because most of my girl ducks have a habit of staying clean and proper, except Cuddles, but she can't help it because she does have some arthritic walking problems. She stumbles and falls a lot when she gets really bad, and she kind of stumbles into her water and her food, and it gets all over. But it's not her problem. It's not her fault. I know you might stumble and fall a lot, but... And I could have put this straight on the ground, which would have been fine, but he would have got into it more, probably. I want it raised up, one, so he has to sort of lift his legs up. So this is therapeutic for him. Again, I'm thinking, what can I do? I want something where he has to sort of use his legs, kind of lift himself up, therapeutic. Not so much the food, but for the water. At least give him one thing. So this gives him a little bit of therapeutic to... Now, he could step up on here and get into the water. But this makes it a little bit therapeutic for him to stand up and get some water. To use his legs, to keep using those muscles, keep working them, because we have to keep the muscles built up. We have to, it's one thing. It's kind of like if anybody has arthritis or, you get hurt, you lose a lot of muscle mass, because it's a vitamin deficiency, which causes muscles to freeze up the loss of muscle mass. You got to keep that built up, so we got to keep strong. Yep. We got to do that whole Rocky Go the Distance music. You got to go the distance. You got to stand up. You got to get your food and your water. Good job. Good exercise. Yep. That's basically what it is. It's a lot of therapeutic exercise. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job, little fellow. Good job. Your beak's a little bit more warmer. You need to take a nap and rest. Yeah. Got a lot of stuff in there. Get you some CBD oil. That should be enough for right now. I shouldn't have to give you anything else. You should be fine. Yeah. And the heat, he was getting too hot. He was getting too overheated. But that little bit of heat should help with the joints and the swelling, soreness. Yeah. Yep. And like I said, I've dealt with this a million times, 1,000 times. I mean, not exactly that number, but a lot. I mean, if you guys have dealt with it and have done something similar or the same, if there's any other things that you have done that I have not mentioned, because I might be forgetting some things and leaving stuff out. But if there's anything else that you guys have done, like with the vitamin deficiency for the niacin, if there's anything else that you guys have done, I'm just gonna set my phone here. It's charging. No, it's full. But I mean, if there's anything that you guys have done, like this, or you know anybody, or might know, give them my contact information or message me. Hey, this is what I did on my farm with my ducks when it had this problem, and it seemed to help. Because any new information is fine, because I've been doing this, like I said, for years with my ducks. This is what's helped me. But sometimes trying something new to help them out to get better faster can always work. Because not every duck, not every chicken, not every dog is the same. So, like, I could have 5 ducks. I could treat them all the same, but only 3 of them are getting better with the treatment that I'm giving them. Maybe you did something different that would help benefit the other 2. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, if I try something a little bit different with this guy, and maybe might make him on the road to recovery a lot more quicker, something I'm not thinking of, something that I haven't thought of that somebody else has tried, that they just said, well, these things work, they've worked for years, but there's something else I want to try, and maybe I'll try it and see if it works, and it did, they got better quicker, who knows? Different things, new things are happening every day. It doesn't mean I won't try. It doesn't mean, I'm not willing to learn, better, newer, different things to help them. But as it looks now, he does not need to go to the vet. I just need to get what I have in him now, and what I have and what I know how to do in him now, to see if it's going to work or he's going to get worse. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to go look online, see if there's any new developments, because it's been a while since I dealt with this. Any new developments, any new treatments, but just what I know how to do so far, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go look and study up for a couple of days, ask a couple of my, friends, hey, anything new on, the vitamin deficiency in ducks? Any other, new breakthroughs? Send them my way. Or is it the same old, same old? Anything new I can try. And, I'll call my vet, let her know I do have another rescued duck. May or may not eventually need a visit. This is what we think's wrong. Do you have any ideas that I could try? Or if you come across any, because she scrolls forums and stuff like that and sees things, and she always saves little things because she never knows when she's going to need them, that she thinks are interesting. If you see anything that might be interesting, something new, can you let me know and send them my way? But yeah, that's how people learn. That's how we grow and we develop, is learning from each other, learning new things that can help. So hopefully all the information that I've told you could help somebody else. But it doesn't mean that I'm not willing to learn something new, try to help them, go even further. Like I said, I might have left a couple steps out that I've done. I'm kind of half asleep. I'm not altogether awake yet, and I forget what time. Yeah. I was woken up. I was taking a nap, and I was woken up. Yeah, just to come set you up. Now you're giving yourself a bath. Now you're probably going to get into the water and get all dirty. Yeah, well, yeah, I got a bath. I got to get all spiffy. But you're already clean. You don't need to be any more cleaner. We need to be more clean for. But I'm just going by the size of the duck. And ducks grow different sizes. I mean, I've had a bunch of Pekin ducks, and some of them are like really huge, and some of them stay really small. And it depends on not how much they're getting, it just depends on their genetics, depends on them, it depends on them themselves. I'm also noticing around his eyes and his head, he has like a darker pigment. I don't know if you all noticed that. He has a darker pigment. Most of the Pekin ducks I've always had a pink pigment. If you look it up. It's okay, come here. Now, see his wings, how they got pink pigment? Because they're a white duck. But look around his eyes and his face. I don't know if you can tell there's a darker pigment. Like his neck going up. His neck doesn't, like his ears, I can see his ear holes have a pink pigment. But up around his head and his down through his neck a little bit, have a little bit of an offish pink pigment. Now, it could be me. It could be just me. Maybe he is a full Pekin. He's just an oddball one. When he turns and does certain things, it almost looks like he has a gray or a, yeah, like a gray pigment underneath his skin. Which I didn't think Pekins are supposed to. They're supposed to be all pink. Which that would suggest to me you're not a full Pekin. That's how I'm seeing things. Because I'm looking both on and off camera here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking both on and off camera here. Yeah. And I'm saying the pigment that you're throwing off is not full Pekin. Sort of pinkish on your neck, but like right down underneath your eyes, around your eyes, you got dark pigment. Yeah. Most of the Pekins I've had always had pink. Yeah. Yes, I'm ruffling your feathers. I'm rustling your feathers. I'm ruffling your feathers for a reason. You too. You do that whole mouth thing like a goose. Yes. You do that whole mouth thing and that hiss thing like a goose. That's what you put me in the mind of, is a goose and not a duck. And it make me laugh as if you're some kind of hybrid goose duck. But yeah, he does that whole hiss thing and opens his mouth and puts his head down and hisses at you kind of like a goose would. It's like looking at him, it looks like a duck. But then the more I look at him, it's like, why is it I'm thinking of a goose? Especially when he does that whole hiss thing, and it's like, no, there couldn't be any possible way that it'd be a cross. That'd be funny. He'd be a goose. Yeah. Yeah, there's sometimes when I just go for him, or Kyla goes near him. Sometimes Kyla goes near him, he does it, and sometimes he don't. But he puts his head down, and he hisses like a goose. And it's like, it's like, my ducks don't do that. Or I've never seen one of my ducks do that, but, Oh no, it could be just because he's different. Maybe you were raised by geese. I don't know. You think you're a goose? Who knows? Well, you rest. Yeah. You take a little rest. And I'm going to get off here and finish letting my phone charge. Yeah. Because then I got to go download both of these videos. And I can put them on YouTube. Yeah. And then we'll check back with you in a couple of days and see how you're doing. See how you're walking around. Don't get too close to your poop there by the wall. I gotta clean that off. You wall shitter. That's what you are. You're a wall shitter. Instead of a window licker, you're a wall shitter. Yeah. But that's okay. See? It's a goose thing. It's a goose thing. My ducks don't do that. Not that I've noticed, unless you're different. Are you different? Say, yeah, I'm different. Definitely. Okay. Well, we're going to get off here. Show you, buddy. Say goodbye.